progress for the Wolverines. Yeah. At least, they're doing better than Notre Dame. So.
Oh, man, I saw this past game with Notre Dame versus Stanford.
Stanford's pretty hot this year.
I
felt bad.
They got a squad, for real. You want to know a team that got crushed in college football this week? Texas.
I saw that. I was so excited. I hate Texas. I was so excited to see that.
Yeah, and they lost to UCLA, the same UCLA who got shut out by Stanford.
Wow.
35-0 against Stanford. So Texas, according to Texas dropped from number 17 all the way to 21st.
Oh. Michigan's ranked higher than Texas now.
There we go.
Michigan's making progress. But other than that, Alabama nearly escaped.
They escaped.
I thought Arkansas was going to get that one.
That was actually really good.
Ryan Mallett, Arkansas QB, former Michigan QB.
Really?
Yeah, he was the last guy that Lloyd Carr got, and he played like one season with Lloyd Carr, and then Lloyd was gone, and this guy's like, well, Rodriguez doesn't want me in his offense, so I can go somewhere else.
No, I understand.
The quarterback for Alabama, Greg McCoy, he hasn't lost a game, and this is a truth. He hasn't lost a game since 8th grade football. Since 8th grade. So it would have been funny to see him lose. But Alabama, they're going to have some tough competition being the number 1 team in the country in the SEC. They got Florida next week and then South Carolina the week after. So Alabama, you're going to see some tough competition. Ohio State,
not so much tough competition.
No. They went through the MAC like it was cake.
Well, I mean,
they should. They should have.
I wonder. This would be an interesting statistic because, there were a lot of Big Ten teams this week that put up huge numbers of points against
not good teams,
wishy-washy teams, many of whom were from the MAC.
But
I would not be surprised if the Big Ten made a record this past weekend for most points scored by a conference in a weekend.
Interesting point.
Along with
Something. Wisconsin, I think, scored 70.
Ohio State
scored 70, and Michigan put up 65. I mean,
that
alone.
Iowa did 45-0.
There you go.
Well, the only MAC team that did beat a Big Ten school is that team up north.
Yeah.
The true up team up north.
Yeah.
They beat Purdue.
I was like, actually, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
The MAC is slightly more serious. Yeah, slightly.
A bit.
Yeah.
A bit.
So
let's not get ahead of ourselves. Not get ahead of ourselves here, but.
So that's the college football. Let's jump to the pros here. Let's jump to the pros. The San Francisco 49ers, they look awful. I know there's a lot of games, but start with San Francisco. They fired their offensive coordinator, Jimmy Way, because San Francisco, they lost to Kansas City.
So did the Browns.
So did the Browns. And so did San Diego. So the Chiefs are 3-0.
I know, right?
The Chiefs, the Kansas City Chiefs are 3-0. How impressive is that? But Tampa Bay, who was 2-0, who the Browns also lost to, they was brought back to reality by the Steelers.
There you go.
And the Steelers, like we said on last week's show, the Steelers can win with any quarterback in the world from the streets. So don't. Dallas and Houston. Now that wasn't the Cowboys and the Texans. A very interesting game because the Texans came into that game undefeated. They finally have beaten big time opponents, and the Cowboys. Can you imagine if they would have lost and been 0-3?
0-3?
Yeah, and 0-3 if the Cowboys would have lost. Ray Phillips would have been finished. Jerry Jones would have burnt his hair or something. But the Cowboys, they went and they won the game. So it was a lot of impressive stuff that happened in the NFL. We'll get more into details on Wednesday with my power rankings. But I want to say this about the bad teams, the Browns and the and the Bills and Oakland and those bad. Here's the thing about the NFL is that you see the parity. The parity is there. None of these teams, even though they lack talent, they weren't blown out.
No, the Browns were in every single game they lost this year. They were right in there.
Yeah, and this thing, Baltimore, I think as a NFL fan, I'm more disappointed in the Ravens. Giving up that many yards on the ground to the Browns defensively. And this is supposed to be the Ravens defense, which is top notch in the NFL. Yeah. So this is an interesting thing to see after 3 weeks. Of course, the Monday night game tonight, the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears. That's going to be huge. You got Aaron Rodgers and Jay Cutler versus Jay Cutler. Yeah.
Chicago beat Detroit on a fluke, so I think Green Bay's going to beat them.
Yeah. Is Chicago actually worth the 2-0 record that they had?
Exactly.
So that's what's happening, and we have 1 week left in the baseball season in Major League Baseball. So next week is the playoffs. Just give you a little heads up on what's going on in the playoff picture heading into tonight. In the American League, the top team is the Tampa Bay Rays, followed by the Yankees. They're both competing
Still
for the division, and they have the top 2 records in.
The AL East is just the best conference.
Yeah.
Right now.
It just is.
So then you have the Minnesota Twins at 3 and the Texas Rangers at 4 in the American League. Those teams, all 4 of those teams is basically in. They're in the playoffs. All 4. So there's no wild card. Or the Texas is the wild card. Or the Yankees. Or whoever loses the American League East is the wild card. But that's going to be a very competitive, especially Tampa and the Yankees. I wonder how many Yankee fans. I know there's a lot of them, and those who hate the Yankees.
I think.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Now in the National League, there's more competition in the National League.
Oh, yeah.
Philadelphia has won, I believe, about 11. Well, they lost last night, but before they won 11 straight games, and they clinched their division. So, number 2, you got San Francisco. 3, you got the Reds of Cincinnati. I know a lot of Reds fans on campus. I got a guy that lives next door to me in my dorm. He's a big time Reds fan. So, Indians had their chance. Now it's the Reds' turn. So, Cincinnati Reds is in, and then you got San Diego right now, at number 4. But a lot of wild card teams. You got Atlanta, who's hanging on. You got Colorado, and then St. Louis is hanging on by a thread.
Yeah, I've written off St. Louis.
Yes, St. Louis.
Stick the fork in San Diego.
It's Philadelphia in the East. Probably the Reds in this. I'm hoping San Diego can actually win the West because I'd like to see them make it. And then I'd also like to see the That's my favorite.
All right, now we just spent the past few minutes talking about the race for the playoffs.
Yes.
But as far as I'm concerned, there's only one race in baseball that counts for anything right now. And that is the race for 4th place in the AL Central.
Oh, no.
All right, now the race for 4th is really heating up, and it was a great weekend. The race for 4th. Kansas City Royals and the Cleveland Indians duking it out for 4th place. And the Cleveland Indians, they went into the series trailing, and as of the last time I checked, the Indians actually had a game and a half lead. So
I'm sorry, I have to ask, how can you suck for that long?
The Kansas City Royals?
Yeah, Kansas City and Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh Pirates.
For a long time.
I don't think they made the playoffs since I've been born.
Probably not. But it's all right. I mean, as bad as the Pirates have been, they've won a World Series more recently than the Indians have. The only team that hasn't won a World Series for a longer period of time than the Indians is the Cubs.
Oh, the Cubs.
So
102 years in counting.
that's right.
I think they just must have ticked off some minor god or something. Time to sacrifice a chicken, folks. Let's get this down. Let's get this straight. We can do this.
It had to be something.
Something.
Actually, they do have a curse on it.
Yes.
From the 1945 World Series. It's called the Billy Goat Curse.
Oh really?
Oh, God.
You don't know, oh, it was
No, let's hear this. Let's hear this.
In the 1945 World Series, it was the Cubs versus the Detroit Tigers, and it was in Chicago. It was at Wrigley Field in Chicago, and it was, I forgot which game of the World Series it was, but a guy who lived in Chicago, he was a Greek immigrant, wanted to go see the game, and he brought a goat, his pet goat, and he had a sign on it saying something like, he had a sign on the goat saying something like, "We have the Tigers goat," or something funny.
Oh, goodness.
And it's the 40s, man.
I know.
And he actually got into the stadium. They actually paraded the goat around on the field for a little bit, and then it started to rain and it started to smell, and people started complaining, so the stadium kicked him out. And he pretty much kept trying to get in the whole game, and the stadium kept kicking him back out, and they get into this huge fight. And as soon as, finally, after the game was over, he was going to go watch it anymore, he left, and he said, he supposedly cursed the Cubs, saying that they would never win another World Series in Wrigley Field. And he left.
So they just have to tear down Wrigley.
Yeah, they got to pull it off, that's all.
And I guess the legend goes, he left Chicago for a vacation afterwards because he was so messed up, so upset about it. And after he heard that the Tigers had beat the Cubs to win the World Series, he wrote a note to the owner of the Cubs saying something like, "Who stinks now?"
Oh, just rub it in. Just rub it in.
And they have not been to the World Series since.
They haven't even been to
They
the
haven't
World.
been to the World Series since '45.
Well, when I think about the Cubs in the postseason, I think about Steve Barkman.
Yeah. That was the curse right
Horrible
there.
last
That
name.
was it.
Horrible last name.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we're going to take another quick break here. Did we have any trivia set up? Or
Yeah. We'll go along with
Civil
to
rights?
time back to our interview. We'll do something with civil rights. Now everyone knows Brown v. Board, the
Yes.
Supreme Court case that set up,
Anti-discrimination.
1954. But perhaps fewer people know the name of the Supreme Court case that established the previous thing, which was separate but equal.
The thing that was overturned by
But by
Brown.
Brown v. Board. So give us the name of that court case, the Supreme Court case that established the separate but equal, doctrine, whatever you want to call it.
That's actually good. Actually, I know this too. I'm proud of myself.
All right, well, good job.
If you know it, call in at 419-372-8810. Or I think we also have a toll-free number at 1-8887-WBGU-FM, and we'll be right back in a few minutes.
This is nice. Yeah. I swear, people that the internet audience don't know is that there's a whole bunch of buttons on that side that that.
Now, here. I want to steal this sheet of paper. And I want you to write down the instructions for how the phone
Hope I don't
so
break
can
your
study it.
camera on that.
Yeah.
Just if I can see it.
Well, legally, I'm not allowed to give away the button information in case anybody breaks into the station or something and wants to.
What exactly is that on your computer?
This live streaming is Justin.tv. It's live streaming.
Where'd you
Is
get
anyone
that?
watching this?
Not right now, no. I'm gonna send it to YouTube and Facebook and
Oh, yeah.
maybe people. Maybe.
Maybe. See how special this place is.
If not, I can cuss during the commercial breaks.
That'll get their interest going.
Start going around doing jumping jacks or something. Oh man.
Watch me do my Wookiee mating call.
Oh man. You know they said Snooki had
Sex with Vinny, everybody knows that.
other than that.
Other than that,
Other than that,
Or do we want to do international?
yeah.
No, we can do them both.
she
I'll let you
I heard
go
she
first.
had,
Yeah, I'll let him go first, and then.
I heard she had
We'll have you finish up the show.
alcohol poisoning.
That's not surprising.
Who?
Snooki.
Snooki.
Yeah,
Doing
yeah,
film.
Why am I surprised? Why is she had alcohol poisoning?